Ooh. Oh. I hit the max on the red counter, so sorry for being like Rah! So as you can see that I'm currently unprepared and quickly spinning something up, but just ignore this. Only look at me. How are we all doing? How are we all doing? It's a... what day is it? I always forget the day. It's Thursday. I'm just going to sneakily do something that you can't see. So, welcome everybody. Let's look at the YouTube studio. What we got? 15 people. That's probably the... I keep maxing out the thing. I don't know if I'm just like extension my mouth too much. Not like that. So we've planned this live stream for some time. True. Like, yeah, just coming from a meeting just before this, and I was just like, wait, I forgot, I got this. Damn. So welcome to the stream. So in this live stream, I will be going off screen for 1 second. That's better. Just shutting the door. So in this live stream, I will be showcasing a free feature that's included in the community plan that you may not know about. Ignore the... I have to remember which side I'm on. Ignore the things that you see happening at the top. It's just that my OBS, like, configuration just really doesn't like Wayland, so tech problems. So we're going to be showcasing a free feature that is included with the community plan on the CrowdSec console. So you might be saying to yourself, well, what's this magical feature that you're talking about that I don't know about? If you head over to docs.crowdsec.net, and if you look at the guide section at the very top, you'll see there is a option on the left hand side called contextualizing alerts. And the premise of it is to allow you to have more context around your alerts within the CrowdSec console. So have you ever wondered, oh, I just had a port scan triggered, but I wonder what ports they were scanning for? Well, this feature right here can be used to get that information into the CrowdSec console. So I will be walking through this guide shortly, but currently what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish setting up the thing that I should have set up before I started. So let me just double check this. CV scan, web scan, SSH brute force. Yeah. That's it. That needs to be set up. Okay. So I have, if you can see on my screen, I have two tabs going along the top. So my left one is my Defender instance that I haven't enrolled into the console yet. And the right one is an attacking instance that I just spun up on DigitalOcean, just for now. The way that this is set up is there's a script that I run just to configure some log sources. And I'm just going to install mmap-y. So we can just get good old port scanning tool called mmap. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is I need to install CrowdSec. So I'm just going to go to the security engine, go to Linux because that's what I'm on, and I'm just going to quickly set it up. So run the script. But how is everybody doing? While this is running, because it's going to take like a few seconds. And then once the script is installed, I'm just going to do, not apt install kill. Run too many kill commands today. I'm going to do apt install CrowdSec-y. And this will download and configure the security engine. Cool. So it's picked up that I've got Nginx installed, which is correct. You're alive, aren't we all? It's Thursday. If you're like me and I've got a day off tomorrow, it's okay. So always best to read the output of commands once you've run them. So you can see there's a detailed guide on the docs. There's also configured items created on the hub, and then also at the bottom, how to enroll it into the console. So I'm going to do that before I do anything. Okay, so this is the CrowdSec console. I hope everybody is familiar with it. If not, go to app.crowdsec.net and sign up for an account. Once you've logged in, you'll be greeted with this page right here. This is like the getting started of the console. And you can see down here that there's an enrollment key down here. So I'm just going to click copy. And I'm in data anomalization mode, so I don't leak my email address. So I'm just going to click copy down here. And then we're going to head back to the shell where I installed CrowdSec. And I'm just going to do a little quick paste and click the enter key. What this will do is it will inform my CrowdSec instance locally to say, hey, can you go send a request to app.crowdsec.net to enroll itself there. If I head back to the main page and click the little refresh button in the top corner, I'm starting to see like which side I'm pointing on. You'll see now that I have the security engine showing up in the enrollment list. I'll click accept enroll, and then it will just magically show up in the list. It should do. If not, let's just do a hard refresh. There you go. There it is. So if any of you were familiar with the CrowdSec console, you've probably already done this. This is just for the people that haven't done it, that need to know how to do it. So if we head back to the documentation, head back to the guides, head back to contextualized alerts, you'll see here that when we're going through this guide, we have to explicitly enable alert context. And the reason being is because CrowdSec is a privacy-focused tool, we don't want you to accidentally download a package that has, because of the new hub upgrade. So I'm explaining this really poorly. Let me just go through it again. So if I go to the CrowdSec hub, so if I go to CrowdSec, okay, that's not what I wanted to go to. I wanted to go to GitHub, thank you. Okay, so if I go to the CrowdSec hub, and if you're familiar with our versioning, we've just released 1.6, and in 1.6, the security engine now knows about context. So inside this context folder, you won't need to know this, but this is just to give you some preface on why you have to enable it explicitly before it gets sent. So let's say if I'm a OpenSense user and I have a firewall attack, somebody port scans me. Well, in the firewall base context, you can see here now that if a service is TCP or UDP, it will then put the destination port as the context. And this is automatically downloaded on all your machines. So if you go to inspect the alert now, you will see that context showing in CSCLI. However, if you want that context to be forwarded on to us, you have to enable it by running this command, which is sudo CSCLI and then console enable context. So I will just run that. Okay, so that's context is enabled, and then I'm just going to reload the security engine because I haven't done that since I enrolled it. Give it a couple of seconds. Great. So that is done. So now I am going, what am I going to do? Let's first continue go through the guide. and not click on another tab. So you can make sure that it is enabled, because you might have already enabled it and you just didn't realize. If you run the sudo CLI console status, you'll see here that we have custom, manual, tainted, and context. So that means you've now enabled the context. So now it will forward any context that it has locally with the alert to the machine. And that's pretty much all you have to do configuration wise. You can, if you only want to use the base default ones that we provide with the packages. So let's have a play and let's get an alert up there. So because I've got Nginx, if I do CSCLI context list, it will come up with the contexts that has been downloaded from the hub. So because I had Nginx, I've got the HTTP base one. So if we go to inspect and this, what it will show you is just basically what the HTTP base is connected to. So you can see here that it's pretty much every single web server that we support is connected to. However, if you want to see what the contents are, you can grab this local path and just run a cat command on it. And this is the data that will be sent up with the context. So it will show you the path they tried to attack, the user agent, the verb, and the status that they got. So let's do that. So on the second machine that I've got here is another DigitalOcean machine, and I've created an alias called WebScan and CVE scan. All it is just a GoBuster alias, so don't think I'm doing like anything out of the ordinary. So if I do WebScan, and we're just going to scan the IP address in question. So if I do 143.110.174.24, and it's done. That was really fast. So let's see if I have any alerts to show. That worked way too fast. Let's go back to my main machines. No, it did work. So you can see here that we have these alerts locally. And now if I just drum roll please. Hey! Oh, I can't show it in anonymization mode. So I'm going to come off anonymization mode. It's okay if you see my name. I think pretty much everyone knows my name. So you can see here that these are the paths that we brute forced. This was the status code that we got, and this was the user agent. So it tries to obviously anonymize it a little bit, but this is the context around the alert that's inside the console. However, some of you might not have this column active. So when you log in, you might only just see, if my click would work. So some of you might only just see this when you log into the console. If so, in the top right hand corner here, so I can't zoom in anymore, but you can see it, columns, click that, and you have the context one here. You just need to turn that on, and then it will just then load the information. And that's pretty good. Now we got this information. It's pretty interesting to look at, so you can see what they did and stuff like that. However, I always find it a little bit more interesting. Let me just grab my metrics just to make sure that, yeah, we need to do sudo CSLI collections, install CrowdSecurity /IP tables, and then we restart CrowdSec again. I'm really sorry for all the flashing stuff that happens. I've been trying to debug it for about half a year. It just doesn't work. Okay, so this is what I find to be a better use case, because obviously when you've got somebody that's brute forcing 4 or 4 pages, it's not technically that interesting. It can be, obviously, if you've got somebody that's brute forcing like sensitive files, or you've got like a threat actor that's going through there like trying to find specific PHP files because they know that you're running PHP. That's interesting. So you can see here that obviously they're trying to find the bash RC. It's this GoBuster that has a generic list. So because I've just installed the IP tables, I'm just going to double check that IP tables is getting passed. Yep, it is. There it is. And you can see that people are port scanning me. So beware if any of you are port scanning this IP address, you will show up in the console. I can't help it if you leak your own IP address. Don't do it. So I'm just going to change this command now. Rather than doing an nmap scan, I am going to do a nmap port range scan, and I'm just going to do between 20 and 100. And oh, why did I put HTTP? That's why. Okay, so now I'm scanning 20 to 100, and you can see now that I picked up that I'm running SSH and this one. Okay, so that's what will normally happen. So let me just refresh the screen. It hasn't come up yet. Let me just double check that my overflow happened. Yep, I got 9 overflows. So if I go to the alerts list, yeah, there you go. Scan multiports, and somebody else got triggered, so I'm not going to show their IP, but so look, so you can see here, so IP tables scan multiports happened, and this is the ports that got triggered in it. So you can see that I only scanned the lower 100 range, so you can see that these are the ports that got shown up as me doing them. You can also see that I was doing a TCP port scan because it says TCP : and then the destination port. However, you may want to add additional ones, because the ones that we provide from the hub are purely ones that are not have sensitive information inside of them. So like destination port, somebody brute forcing the root username, you get what I mean? It's not going to be sensitive data that you would classify or PII as the terminology states. However, you may want to add your own things. Let's say you have a key cloak, or like a successful authentication parser, like for SSH. You may want to send up the username, but you may not, because it's a successful username. So technically, if you send that username to us, obviously any data that's held by us is accessible. So you might not want to show that. Yep. So if we head back to the guide, which is pretty much what I've already shown you. It's like showing you that you can go through the status, see the stuff, and then how you can visualize it locally, because the alert context is added locally as well as being added if you enable the option. And then here's how you can add your own custom context. So if you don't know what variables there are, I'll just use a generic example. So let's say you've got some query string and you really want to know what that query string is. So if I just kill localhost / and then I'll do a query string just to say search equals 123. Obviously, I get a welcome to Nginx page because it's the root thing. It doesn't actually log this thing. However, if I now go and grab, hopefully nobody's brute forcing me so I can actually get the access log. Yeah, okay, here we go. So you can see here that this is the log line that got generated when I did that search query params. So if I want to get the variables that I can use inside alert context, we're going to use our good old favorite CSCLI explain. So let me just clear the screen and zoom in just a bit. CSCLI explain, and then we do -- log. We'll paste in that log that I just got from the Nginx. Put type Nginx, and I'll do a -v for verbose. Now we'll give it a second, and it should just spew everything onto the screen. So you can see that it's whitelisted because obviously it was happening from the same host. We don't care about that. But let's say I want something from this. So this is where you can pick the data from. So I wanted the query params. Okay, so if I look down here, there is a parse variable called event parse.http args, which has my search equals 123 in it. Okay, that's what I want to send up to the console because, or I want to have locally as well, because I know in that information there that if someone's trying to do an attack, I want to know what query params they're sending up. So we are going to go to the root of the CrowdSec folder, which is etc CrowdSec. Okay, and inside the directory there is a context folder. All the contexts will live here. So if you do ls-tech-la, I don't know how good it's showing up on the screen, but you can see here that I have the brute force base, the firewall base, the HTTP base, all the stuff that we got from the hub. But I want to create my own context. So I'm going to create my own context.yaml file. Okay, Vim's installed by default. That's great. I was expecting it to say can't find Vim. So I always forget okay. So this is the way that it's structured. It has a context as the top level key, and then what this is the name of the parameter that will show in the console. So if I go over to the console and I show you one of those things, you see this target_URI, that is the name key that is shown here. So you can see here, target URI. And then you pass in the value that you want. So this is event meta.http path. It can live on anything on the object, I believe, because it basically on overflow, it goes and grabs all the information and then keeps it going. So we're going to create this. We're going to create a context. And what do I want to call it? Well, I'm just going to call it query_params because that's what it is. And then I'm just going to paste in that's not what I wanted. Let me just right quit and go and grab the thing that I wanted. HTTP args, that's what I wanted. Yeah, there you go. Okay. So now I have put in events parse.http args. Right quit. Okay. Then I'm going to do systemctl restart CrowdSec, and then hopefully we don't get a crash. Come alive. But how are we all following so far? Do we understand alert context and how it's useful? And I just realised it's getting really dark. You know, British weather. Oh, turn on the bright lights. So, okay. So it's restarted. It had no errors. what I'm going to run instead from this box is I'm going to run the CVE scan. It's just Nikto that runs. So that's probably the one that's going to have query params. If not, I'll just have to do some on the fly hacky coding one. Okay. Then let's do decisions list. HTTP sensitive files. Okay. I've had alerts, but I don't know if any of them have query params. So, the way that it's designed to work is that if there isn't a... So when you do event pass that HTTP args, if the key is empty, it just won't send it up if it's blank. Because there's no data, obviously, to propagate onto us. So let's have a look, quick look. So the answer is no. We don't have any params. Nice. However, you can see it's quite useful here that Nikto tried to inject some bash shell shock user agent into the web server. So let's have a look. I'm guessing it's still running. Hey, we found it. Hey, it works. Nikto did what we thought it was doing. So you can see here that we got a trigger for XSS probing, because if none of you have ever had this before, it's cross-site scripting probing, and in the query params, this is where it's trying to do all the juicy stuff. So you can see here that my query params are now showing and doing it. So now, since I've got custom data to go to the console, I'm going to show you how you can filter by this. So if you click on the little three dots on the query params, you can copy the context key, copy as JSON, filter the alert context as JSON. You can filter by key. So let's say if I want all the requests that have had query params, I can just click filter by key. Okay, now it will show me all my alerts recently that only have query parameters on, because it just allows me to see through all the mess of all the other Nikto stuff that's going on, and I only have the ones now that have query params. Well, let's say if I want to see all the ones that have got XSS probing on. Well, you can click on the options menu and then say keep only it. So now we're crafting this filter to say I will only see scenarios is HTTP probing and anything that's got the query params context. Obviously, we know that's only got one alert because I'm not running Nikto all the time. However, if you have like a big expenditure of alerts, then obviously this can show you everything that you need to see. So I'm just going to quit this filter so we can see everything. So I'm trying not to breathe into the microphone because I know I have a bad tendency to do that. So how was that? Did that show you the cool free feature in the community that you don't have to pay for? I know, I always forget that I'm on a 15-second delay, so when I go through stuff really fast, afterwards I'm just like, oh wait, I didn't actually wait for anyone to reply. So I just realised as well, I've been staring at the average view duration, as I thought that was how long I've been going. How long have I been going for? Oh yeah, I forgot OBS can tell me, can't it? I've been live for 41 minutes. Oh damn. I thought it was only live for 8 minutes. Whoops. Okay, so this shows you how you can use the context. It also shows you that since version 1.6, you already get a pre-included alert context. However, you have to enable the feature to send it to the console. And then once you send it to the console, you need to go to columns and turn on the context key to be able to see them. Most people don't actually realize that they actually turned on the feature already. And when they go here and turn on this context key, they'll be like, oh my God, I've got loads of stuff that I didn't realize was already there. Okay, let's quit this. And I think Nikto is still running in the background, like causing havoc. Oh no, it's done. My dashboard looks different and is only showing last 1 hour logs is normal. Yes. So when you enter the dashboard view, there is a period in the top right hand corner. Just make sure that that's not on last 1 hour. Change it over to like last 7 days maybe, and this will show you everything that you want to see. Okay, well, if we don't have any more questions, and I ran through that pretty quickly, I think we can wrap it up here, and I will see you guys in the next webinar, which won't be hosted by me. The next webinar will be hosted by my colleague Jack, and it's on the 14th of March. I'm going to quickly open up Discord just to see when the next webinar is on. Yeah, 14th of March at 4 p.m. British Standard Time, or if you're like everybody, go by CST or CST. CST? What did I say? CST. It's CET. 5 p.m. CET. I've lost my YouTube tab. Give me a second. Okay, so I'm going to be signing off. I will see you guys later.